Hey guys, this is your Cloud Strategist channel. I'm Sridhar. In this video, we're going to look at the basics of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is nothing but imparting human-like intelligence to machines or computers, in simple terms. So I'm going to start with a simple experiment to explain this further for you. Imagine I'm giving you a simple numeric number, let's say 2. And I'm saying you need to get an answer 4 by applying some logic on the input. Now immediately you start thinking, and and most of you might have figured out, by adding a number 2 to the input, you can already achieve the answer. Also, most of you are also thinking that by multiplying this input number by 2 also gives you the same answer. Now that's your intelligence which was put into action when you have to figure out how to achieve an answer or solve a problem. Artificial intelligence works in a similar fashion. But now let's fine-tune this even further. Now with a given single number, you understood what's the algorithm to achieve the answer. Now let's say I'm giving you a number 1 and I want you to get the answer 3 using the same algorithm. Now you have refined your algorithm to say that it's not the multiplication, but it's the addition that works for the required algorithm, right? Now, you've done that using a number of iterations by looking at number of input data and iterating through the logic and arriving at the required answer. Now, we're going to do that the same thing for the machines as well. And this is what we call training the model. Now, instead of your brain working, it's going to be the neural networks within the computer world, within the machine world, which is analogous to the human brain, where we have neurons and the repetitive or iterative process of learning something to arrive at a solution or solving a problem. Now, how does that look like? Now, it's something similar to this in terms of how a neural network looks like. There are a number of input nodes. All those circles are called nodes. There could be a number of layers, which are a combination of different nodes in each of these layers. So that's considered a layer, and there could be more than one layer before arriving at the necessary algorithm for arriving at a particular solution in the output layer. Now all of these are called nodes, the circles, and the way they are connected is sometimes called dense in TensorFlow programming, and all of these in different layers are referred to as layer. That's how it's going to look like when you have to send in a problem and ask the computer to figure out the necessary algorithm to arrive at an answer. Now, how this training works in neural networks or in machine learning. So let's look at that simple logic. So let's say there is a bunch of answers and you know the questions. You're going to feed that into the algorithm or the neural network, similar to what we did in the beginning of the video, where you were given a number 2 and you were given an answer 4, and you figured out what is the algorithm to arrive at 4 from that input 2. Likewise, the machine learning is going to have a set of answers, in this case A, which is split into 2 sets of data. So call it a training data and then a validation set. And then we've got the question or the input scenario, and the neural network is going to go in iteration on these data to figure out what is the right algorithm to arrive at the answer. Now it's going to do the validation based on the validation set to compare and fine-tune and feedback so that it arrives at the best algorithm so that it can arrive at the answers that we need. So that happens through the model training process. Now once the model is ready, the model or the algorithm can be exported to work against a set of input data that we will provide, and the output is given. Now artificial intelligence is at its early stages, I would say. We are predominantly using it for image classification, image recognition, and natural language processing, and some level of research. You might have heard about DNA research and everything that's going on based on machine learning. It's at its early stage. So, but I'm going to give you a quick example to demonstrate the artificial intelligence on works, right? So let's look at a simple program. This program is using a model that's been built using CustomVisionAI from Microsoft, and the model has been exported to work on this particular piece of code where it can classify an image that's appearing in the camera. So I'm going to start these and bring up a few sample images from my phone that I've downloaded. The algorithm has been trained using some sample images, but some of these images that I'm showing right now are not part of the training set, but still, based on the algorithm it has learned, it's able to identify that this is a house. It's going to look at that one and identifies it as an animal. It's looking at this one and still recognizing that as an animal. That's a person. That's a very familiar person for most of us, and that could again be a house. So what it does is it has learned based on these three categories of images, which shows a person or a house or an animal, and that algorithm has been exported to work against this program to recognize the frames that are coming up in the program. Now let me show you another simple example where this particular program is going to look at the facial feature of a person and understands whether he is attentive or he is in focus towards the camera. So this could be used in scenarios like a driver who's facing the windshield or who's facing and driving, and you could also determine whether they are being drowsy while they're driving, and the system could alert them based on that. So so the system is identifying my eyes are being broad open. Let me close my eyes, and you would see the system comes back with an alert saying that there is a focus alert. Now all this works based on how the machine learning algorithm can recognize a face, can recognize the pair of eyes, and whether they are open or whether they are recognizable or not. So that's a simple example of how artificial intelligence can help. Now we'll look at more details on how these could be done as a simple user. It's not very complex in terms of how you train a model and use that in your application code. I'll talk to you about that in the next video, but if you like this, subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.